We would take it from the top: 9/11, the London Underground bombings, Madrid, Mumbai, Mali, Bali, northern Nigeria, Sudan, Afghanistan, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Yemen, Pakistan, death for apostasy, death for blasphemy, death for adultery, death for homosexuality.
Comparative religions. The world consists of many, many, many religions. But yet, it is important to understand and appreciate what religions are considered peaceful religions or otherwise. Let's watch this presentation at Oxford University, who dissects the question about, is Islam a peaceful religion? Let's watch together, and then we'll discuss it afterwards. But kindly subscribe to the channel so that a little bit of light will continue to push away a lot of darkness.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. I hope everyone can hear me. How to respond to a lot of this. First of all, on the bar, you said, you admitted yourself that the bar had been set quite high. I would suggest, though, that the burden of proof is on the proposer rather than on us. It quite clearly says Islam is a religion of peace. I suggest you prove it. I've also been told, we've also been told here tonight when we opened, that this debate must take place in the real world. Well, absolutely, yes, it must. It must take place in the real world. And I will describe what Islam is doing in the real world. We can sit and we can debate theocracy day in, day out. We will never agree. We can debate, is there a God, isn't there a God, is the Quran real, isn't it? None of it actually matters. What matters is what happens in the real world, as my opponent quite rightly said. My side of the argument is regularly told that we've heard it again tonight, we were described somewhat as hate. We were told that we are demonizing Islam, whipping up fear of Islam. Not the first time I've been accused of this, probably won't be the last. But let me just say, and let's take this into the real world as we've been advised to do, let me tell you what actually whips up fears of Islam. We would take it from the top: 9/11, the London Underground bombings, Madrid, Mumbai, Mali, Bali, northern Nigeria, Sudan, Afghanistan, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Yemen, Pakistan, death for apostasy, death for blasphemy, death for adultery, death for homosexuality, gender segregation, gender discrimination, unequal testimony between men and women in legal proceedings, child marriage, amputations, beheadings, imprisonment for being raped, anti-Semitism, burqas, execution, as I've said, for this, that and the other, the slaughter of Theo van Gogh on the streets of Amsterdam, death threats on the streets of London, butcher those who insult Islam, Muslim patrols in East London telling people they are entering Sharia-controlled zones, polygamous marriages, marriage not requiring the consent of the bride. This is what causes fear of Islam. It is not me, it is not my colleagues on this side.
Point of information on that point. If Islam and Muslims are responsible for the Muslim patrols...
I'm not finished. I'm not. I mean, let me speak on. But the point is that it is not I or my fellow debaters on this side who are causing fear of Islam. It is the actions of Muslims that are causing fear of Islam. That is the real world. That is where we actually live. Then we'll be told that this is just the extreme fringe of Islam. Well, let me have a look at Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is the birthplace of Islam, the custodian of its holy sites. In Saudi Arabia, a woman is not allowed to drive. She is not allowed to leave the house without a mahram. She is not allowed to vote, although they've been incredibly generous by allowing some votes this is apparently the extreme fringe of people are executed for blasphemy, executed for apostasy. In Saudi Arabia, the birthplace of Islam, we'll be told that's the extreme fringe of Islam. No, it is not. Calling Saudi Arabia the extreme fringe of Islam is like calling the Vatican the extreme fringe of Catholicism. Sorry, it just doesn't work. Then we'll be told that we've misunderstood. Violent Muslims have misunderstood. Saudi Arabia has misunderstood. Iran, which stones people to death for adultery, has misunderstood. Yemen, which marries children at the age of 9, has misunderstood. Has there ever been a more spectacularly misunderstood religion than Islam? It seems that these nations who apply it as their laws, nations which have the Quran as their constitution, innumerable nations, where there is no free speech, where there is no freedom of religion, they've all got it wrong. They've all got it wrong. It's quite a spectacularly misunderstood religion. There's just so much that, I'm constantly told as well that I need to respect Islam. I'm never quite given a good enough reason why. I am under no greater obligation to respect Islam than I am any other beliefs. I'm under no more obligation to respect a woman oppressed in the name of Islam than if she is oppressed by the BNP or anyone else. I am under no obligation to make compromises with an ideology I simply don't see as peaceful. Why don't I see it as peaceful? Because of the evidence. If I look around the world and I see the countries where Islam calls the shots, all I see is brutality and violence imposed by the state. We were told that peace is not just the absence of violence, but the presence of justice. Absolutely. I do not see how in a nation where, as the only woman here, I have some particular issues with the way women are treated in Islamic states. Now, you can argue that they've got it wrong. Tell them that, because they seem to think that's what it is. Yes, I mean, there's so much to say about it, but is there a peaceful Islam? Yes, there is. It's in the hearts of peaceful Muslims. Unfortunately, though, there's also a rather more objective Islam, and peaceful Muslims have to do some really rather creative interpretation, like the command to beat her. I've seen Muslim women. I didn't stand up for you. Well, I didn't. So if you could just have a bit. I knew this would happen. By the way. I knew this would happen. What I'm saying is completely controversial and will be booed and shouted down, and I have no doubt my colleagues the same. I knew this would happen. You say anything negative, you'll get the boos. I'm actually going to leave it there. But I will finish just by saying this. There are hundreds of millions of peaceful Muslims. That is a fact. But that does not mean that Islam itself is peaceful. Peaceful Muslims interpret verses of the Quran so almost beyond recognition. It's reinterpreted, like the command to beat her. It's there in the Quran, and I've seen Muslim women try to dance around it. They put words in there that simply aren't there. That's what it says. It says beat her. And in the countries where the Quran calls the shots, that is exactly what they do. This is not peace. This is not justice. Islam is not a religion of peace, as the evidence shows us. Thank you.
Why would she conclude that Islam is not a religion of peace? That's quite the conclusion. Well, perhaps she came to the conclusion with her opening remarks, going through all the terrorist attacks that has happened since 9/11, and she went through the whole list of all the tragedies and the terrorist attacks were committed by Muslims. Well, that's what gives off the aura of not being peaceful. Any religion that supports suicide bombing, any religion that supports going into a sovereign nation, breaking through the border, torturing, murdering little children, burning them to death in front of their parents, killing the parents in front of their children, beheading, decapitating, torturing, raping innocent, as what happened on October 7. Any religion that's a death cult like that cannot be called a peaceful religion. And when acts like that is done in the name of God, in the name of religion, then you wonder, what God, what religion is that? What religion could possibly support torturing of little babies, taking 250 people hostages and torturing them for endless days? So the question is not about, is Islam a peaceful religion compared to Judaism, Christianity, to Hindu, and to other religions that are out there. It's more of a question of, are we in this world to live together in peace? Can we respect each other even though we don't have the same theological faith system? It's okay for people to have different religions. It's okay for people to have different faith systems. Why does everyone have to believe the same? That's not the way God created us. God created this world with diversity. God created this world in a spiritual way that each person will be born into the religion where their soul needs to connect with. If you're born Christian, that's where you belong. If you're born Muslim, that's where you belong, and that's okay. If you're born Jewish, that's where you belong, because ultimately everything happens with divine providence. And when God creates us and we're born to a certain religion, that is our calling, that is our religion. But just because we don't believe what you believe, it doesn't give you a right to kill us. When you think about the various intifadas that happened in Israel, you think about the suicide bombers, you think about the pizzeria that was blown up in the middle of the day, and you think about the bus suicide bombers, the hijackings, all in the name of Muslim. Well, how does that portray your religion? Does that portray as a peaceful religion? So I think that is her point that she's trying to drive home. That yes, you got 2 billion Muslims. How many of them are in the death cult? And how many of them are peaceful? Well, those that are peaceful need to be a little more vocal. When October 7 happened and Hamas slaughtered 1,200 innocent civilians, Israelis, and other nationalities, if the rest of Muslims believe that that is wrong, they should come out and condemn it. But that's not what happened. And if you don't condemn it, then you're complicit with it. So this is a very difficult scenario that the world is faced now with. The West wants to live its life. We're not Muslim. That's not our religion. We're Christian, we're Jewish, we're whatever religion you want to be. But why does the world have to be Muslim? Why can't just Muslim remain Muslim, live and let live? Do your Sharia law, do your thing, that's okay, it works for you. But why are there areas in England that now you're entering in Sharia law? Why impose your religion on us? That's not religion. Religion, the founding fathers of all religions, is baseless love. Is about tolerance, acceptance, understanding, respect. So let's hope that we in the West, we who have other religions that are not Islam, should truly have an opportunity to be able to share our love, our unconditional love. And let's just hope we don't get killed for that. But that's what it's about. We need to be able to look at history and look at the end result. If the end result of your religion is a death cult, then what kind of religion is it? If at the end of the day, the end result, your religion is about saving life, promoting life, being kind, being accepting, being tolerant, and accepting others as all created in God's image, then you're on the right side of history. So we're fighting a war, a fierce battle that shouldn't be fought in the 21st century. This is 7th century stuff. Why are we still fighting today? So the West, the Christian Judeo Alliance, and the other religions who are peaceful religions needs to put our strengths together and just keep on working and working in creating light in this world. Because a little bit of light pushes away a lot of darkness. How much more so a lot of light? Let's pray, and we hope that one day God's name will be present throughout the whole world. Everyone will worship one God, the God that loves life, the God that loves each other, the God that gave us this beautiful earth and has given us so many gifts, and every day is another miracle that God gives us. Let's be thankful to God, and let's think, does God want us to kill each other or to love each other? Back to the basics. God bless you. God loves you.